So something we've been doing on these halftime shows and post-game shows is we come in a couple minutes early. Now, obviously, we can't show the live game, but we'll talk through it. So also, something interesting, our antenna went out. So we're cord cutters, but we keep the antenna for local channels. And I like that because it's up to it's as soon as it happens, like there. So now we're just streaming it on our YouTube TV, and it's got like a 40-second delay. So that's always kind of funny to me. So you may be seeing the action before we're reacting to it. But Dalvin just got the rock down to the 4-yard line. A $1:16 left in the half. And the Vikings have been playing well. I mean, this is exactly how the Vikings want to play football on offense. They want to run the piss out of it. They want to take the air out of the football. They want to keep it away from Kirk Cousins. Frankly, I don't blame them. Defensively, I mean, it has been a little tough, especially in coverage. Aaron Rodgers is 11-10, 11-12. Basic feels like 11-10, but 11-12 for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, both those touchdowns went screaming by the ear hole of Jeff Gladney, and it's less than ideal, even though the second one was an extremely blatant pick. It wasn't a rub route. No, it was an actual pick by number 82, freeing up Davante Adams, but, it is what it is, as well as they've been gashed for 73 yards on the ground. So Zimmer's defense, yet again, major reason why the Vikings are struggling. And he had 2 weeks to prepare. And Zimmer has not traditionally been very good off of the bye, which is usually the hallmark of a good coach. Being good off the bye is a hallmark of a good coach. Belichick, phenomenal off the bye. Andy Reid, etc. But you would have liked to see some better defensive adjustments. And it did seem like even before Dantzler unfortunately left with that really scary looking injury, that it was songs remains the same. And the pass rush, even though they didn't have Yannick the freaking Ngakoue, it does seem that they're getting a little bit of stank on Rodgers. I think Afadi's playing well. Hercules Mata'afa, they're playing at defensive end. Really interesting to see how that's going to pan out, because when Hercules came into league, he was a 254-pound defensive tackle. Now, I thought him as a situational defensive end would make some sense, even though he didn't necessarily have the size or the length or the speed. He didn't really have the measurables to be an every down defensive end. But, could he be that lunch pail guy? Could he be that dude who just gets after it on the outside? I mean, it's possible. Let's see what else is happening. Yeah, Dalvin is the Vikings offense, where if Dalvin had stretched properly during halftime and then didn't come out at full speed the first play on Sunday Night Football against the Seahawks. I mean, the Vikings are 3-3 right now because Dalvin changes the game. Maybe momentum. Maybe the Seahawks don't reel off 21 points in 2 minutes. Dalvin certainly picks up that 4th and inches at the end of the Seahawks game. And then also it completely changes the dynamic of the Falcons game. So that just proves how important Dalvin Cook is. And it's unfortunate that the season's going FUBAR, because I think Dalvin may carry this team back to relevancy, because as great as Adam Thielen, as great as Justin Jefferson is, I mean, Dalvin is the one who sets everything up, where a lot of teams you are able to throw to run. But Vikings with Kirkua Cousins, you do have to run to throw. And that's the bottom line. All right, 1st and goal. Dalvin gets a rock again inside. Gets down to about the 1 now. They almost pushed it real good. Vikings offensive line, respect, has looked really good running the ball. And they've looked really good running the ball for the past 2 years. There's just something that it sticks in the back of their heads where they struggle in pass protection. Although I think a portion of that is Kirk's certainly not doing them any favors. All right, so at the 1-yard line, going to punch it in. And this is also tough too. So I'm ignoring the live chat, ignoring like social media updates, because we're like an extra 15 seconds behind. So if Kirk throws a pick 6 here, we're not going to know. We're just blissful right here. Dalvin gets in. Good. Woo. Hopefully it's helping out your fantasy teams too. Yeah, so this is basically just a straight up, hey, the Vikings can't stop Rodgers and Davante Adams, and the Packers and Mike Pettin can't stop Dalvin Cook. But I'm okay with that. All right, so looks like it's too much time for Rodgers. Damn it. But hopefully it's going to be 14-14 heading to the locker room. Vikings deferred, so they get the ball the second half. And overall, I mean, you have to be relatively happy with how the Vikings have played. The offense hasn't backed down. And we said from the week 1 matchup is that I mean, this offense can put up points on Green Bay. And also, it's not like the Packers went into prevent defense week 1 either. They certainly did not. It was very un-Zimmerish. So this team is going to be able to put up points. Can they stay toe-to-toe with Rodgers? And as you'll find, it's ironic because I like watching a lot of Big 12 football. It's, defense is optional throughout most of the game, but what always ends up happening is it's one big defensive play, one big defensive stand. It makes a difference in a 45-41 game. And I think this, it may come down to this, where one big goal line stand against Rodgers, one big interception, one time that the ball bounces the Vikings' way when they're on defense, all of a sudden that makes up the entire game. So it's interesting. Also, really intriguing is that they respect the hell out of Justin Jefferson. So they're shadowing him with Jair Alexander, and then they're covering Thielen with their second cornerback, whose name escapes me at the moment. But also they're starting to shade some coverage number 19's way as well. So this is something that, like the Patriots did for a number of years when they won the Super Bowl, notably when they won with Revis and Brandon Browner, as a burp. So what they would do is they'll put Brandon Browner and his giant ass on the other team's wide receiver 1, and then shade safety help his direction, and then put Revis, who was still Revis, but he wasn't Revis. You know what I mean? He would be locked down on the other team's wide receiver 2. So effectively, you're double teaming wide receiver 1, and then your wide receiver 2 is getting Revis all day. It's a great strategy, and that's what Pettin's deploying against the Vikings wide receivers right now. So that's super intriguing. And also, the Justin Jefferson, Jair Alexander, that's going to be a great matchup for the next couple of years, man. It's going to be great to see. I have a lot of respect for Jair Alexander. Loved him in the draft coming out of Louisville. A lot of people didn't like him because he's quasi-undersized, but dude's feisty. He actually reminds me a lot of Antoine Winfield Jr., but all feisty, undersized cornerbacks I really like remind me of Antoine Winfield Jr. Just is what it is. Let's see what else here. Stats-wise. God, I think Kendricks has 9 million tackles. Kendricks has 11 tackles. Not really much going on the Packers side as of right now. Afadi's been getting a decent pass rush because they got Billy Turner, the pride of NDSU, as well as Mounds View, 14-14 into the half. Vikings get the ball, keeping hope alive. And I know, I feel like I kind of feel like the tank for Trevor people, like they're actually kind of pissed off that the Vikings are playing well, but. Nah, not this week. Like, yeah, you can say that the Vikings should lose every other game besides this one. Nah, too much pride. And also, the strangeness of the Vikings-Packer rivalry, especially if you live here in Minnesota and the Twin Cities, is that there's a lot of Packer fans that live here. Especially in the Twin Cities, because it's like there's jobs here. So that's why they came. So it's an interesting dynamic that you don't see in any other rivalry in the NFL. We've gone over this before. Name me another city where a significant portion of the population is fans of the team's most hated rival. It's real hard to see, right? Well, you could say like Jets and Giants, except, are Jets and Giants really rivals? No, not particularly. It would be as if half of Manhattan was Eagles fans. Or half of Philly were Giants fans. It's exactly that dynamic. Adds to strange. Ooh, Jakeem Grant. Let's go, Tua. Yeah. All right, so look at other scores around the league. Man, the Patriots are ass. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, I wish we were watching that one. Cincy's getting the jump on Tennessee, which is good to see. I guess that's not showing up on screens. But, I think that the Vikings are playing their brand of football. They want to run the ball. They want to take it out of Kirk Cousins' hands, maybe setting up play action, take 1 or 2 shots. I think that they're just waiting for that. It's like Rocky IV when Ivan Drago is starting off the fight, and he's just like, Rocky IV, the first fight against Apollo Creed. Apollo's just hitting him with the jab and shucking and jiving and all that stuff. And then Drago's just got that right hand cocked right now. That's what the Vikings are doing on offense, where they're running it with Dalvin. Oh, you're just going to concede the run? Or you're going to let Dalvin run? Okay. Oh, and then all of a sudden you bring an extra guy down the box, then thwack. Justin Jefferson. Woo! Let's go, baby. Let's get it on. But, yeah, I think the Vikings are playing well. Unfortunately, the defense is still going to be a work in progress all year long. And how much of that falls on Zimmer? Frankly, a lot, because he certainly had input with Spielman on the decisions that was going on. He alienated Xavier Rhodes, drove him off. Xavier's playing phenomenally for the Colts this season. Everson Griffin, I agree with the year too early versus a year too late strategy, but it's clear that Everson still has a little something left in the tank, as well as the complete lowball offer that he signed with Dallas. I would have brought Everson back at that price, right? And just talking about beyond the field, talking about leadership in that locker room when that team is going through a ton of changes. And this is also the danger when you do have essentially a turnover of the roster, where a lot of these old guys who have a lot of love and loyalty for Mike Zimmer, the guys that have been through winning the NFC North, winning playoff games, doing all that, they're gone. Right. And the approach that Zimmer had with these older guys, maybe that doesn't work with a lot of young dudes coming in, as well as, guys like Harrison Smith and Eric Kendricks and, I guess Afadi Odenigbo, maybe they weren't used to, being the leaders, being essentially babysitters as these young guys wet behind the ears come in, especially rookies who have no rookie OTAs, have no OTAs, no training camp per se, no preseason games. So it's a lot of learning on the fly. And it was going to be a soupy mess to begin with, but you just want to see week to week a little bit more progression. And also it's going to be a harder degree of difficulty without Yannick Ngakoue, who was the only consistent pass rush threat besides Afadi on this team. So, did they sort of give up and wave the white flag on the season after training Yannick? Yes, they did. But if these young kids can get together on defense and then the offense can, and if Dalvin stays healthy, I think that they could be certainly very interesting down the stretch as this schedule doesn't like open up. But also, are you really scared of the Bears? Really? So the Bears are 5-2. God damn it! I wish it would show the records on here. That's really tough because it's always hard to find scheduled. Yes. It's hard to find like a schedule or a stat breakdown that shows everything that you want and nothing that you don't. So then you just end up making your own. All right, so schedule. All right, so got the schedule up there. So may as well put that. It's happening. Packers 5-2. Who would have knew? All right, so you got the Lions up next. The Bears are 5-2. I believe the Bears are the Bears on a bye this week? It's like I should know this. All right. Oh wow, damn. All right, so the Lions got out to a 7-0 lead on Indy early, and then Indy just came back with a vengeance. They're down 20-7. All right, so you got the Lions next week. It's the Everson Griffin, J-Ron Curse, Adrian Peterson Bowl coming on in. Are you really that scared? Really that scared about the Lions at home? Then you got the Bears Monday Night Football, but Kirk never wins on Monday Night Football. Name me two things about the Bears that scare you. Besides Jalen Johnson, the quarterback I love in second round out of Utah. That's really about it. As my kid screams, he knows what's up. Then you got the lowly Dallas Cowboys. You got the Panthers, who maybe they'll have McCaffrey back by then. Sure. Teddy's been looking super good. Do have one of the fastest, most advantageous defenses in the league. They run 7 deep at wide receiver now, and Tom Brady is still looking like the ageless wonder. But other than that, they're gettable. They got the Bears again. And what really scares you about the Saints? I get it. Christmas Day, you want to have a nice holiday. You don't want it to be ruined by the Vikings playing like ass. What scares you about the Saints? Absolutely nothing. Plus, it doesn't seem like they're going to allow fans in the Superdome. I think that their threat to move the games to Death Valley at LSU is a bluff. They ain't going to happen. So you have an empty dome stadium, week 16. Let's go. And then you're at Detroit. So I think this team could easily catch a little bit of fire, especially if that defense starts rounding out a little bit. If you're Harrison Smith, if you're Anthony Harris, if you're Eric Kendricks, and you're just surrounded by all of that, that's rough, man. That is rough. But overall, I think the Vikings got to be happy with how they played in the first half, especially on offense. Defense, could you slightly get it together? Chris Boyd, could you take worse tackling angles? Jeff Gladney, who we highlighted earlier in the week had been improving every single week. He got torched by Devonta Adams on the 2 touchdowns. One of them on him. The second one was that was offensive pass interference. Pretty clear pick play by number 82. Also, man, I can't wait till Tuesday's over because all the political ads just go away. Oh, man. Like, it doesn't matter what side you're on. They're all annoying. Like, I don't even know who Matt Little is, but I just know from YouTube that I'm supposed to love or hate him. That is all. So, I suppose I should be informed before Tuesday. Anyways, this game, the Vikings get the ball second half. You need a drive that's going to suck some time off the clock, shorten up this game a little bit, punch it in the end zone. No, don't sell for 3. You ain't going to kick a field goal in this wind anyway. So ride Dalvin Cook yet again. Maybe set up that beautiful play action pass. Oh, yeah, by the way, the question is, well, Aaron Rodgers in this wind, how can he be 11-12 passing? Because he overinflates the football. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers openly admitted. People forget about this. A couple years ago during the Deflategate scandals, like, those outlines, those guidelines of PSI where the ball needs to be in between. Oh, I overinflate my footballs. And nothing happened. Of course, nothing happens to goal where, they were perfectly fine crucifying Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. But they let this fly. And I'm sure this still is a part of it, where even on a cold day in Green Bay, if the league bothered to check Aaron Rodgers' footballs, I would bet that they're above the legal PSI. And that would be outside after being in the cold weather for a couple of hours. So you can imagine what they would have been, coming out of the locker room. But again, I digress there. Either way, should be a fun second half. I think the Vikings do get it done. I think they make one timely defensive play. I think that Dalvin Cook and company are able to control the clock. I think Justin Jefferson finally gets cooking. Either that or Adam Thielen, without Jar on him, finally starts beating some of those double teams. And let's get after it. We'll see you after the game. Skol, production value.